Hello everyone, this is Amanda Wood, and I'm going to go over our micro, local, and country with the concerns of test scores. So in the state of California, we have a Smarter Balance test. It's used to measure towards college readiness and career readiness. There's two parts to this test: computer adaptive test, and then the computer adaptive test. The students take a test, and as they are getting the answers correct, the questions get harder. If the student is not understanding the material, then the questions stay at that level. Then you have a performance task. Our performance task is there to give the students a chance to show their ability in a situational task. It's given either on computer or pencil and paper. It gives results for English language literacy and mathematics. Results are categorized in 4 areas, and these are based off of the grade level. It's either standard exceeded, standard met, or standard nearly met, or standard not met. In my life, my micro local would be Orange High School. This is the high school I attended in Orange, California. These are the test scores for the 2016, according to the Smarter Balance website. For English Language Arts, 425 students were tested. 9% of students exceeded the standard. 35% met the standard. 33% standard was nearly met, and 23% standard was not met. In mathematics, we did a little lower scoring. We had 427 students tested. 3% exceeded the standard, 13% met the standard, 21% nearly met the standard, and 62% did not meet the standard. And this is what we're concerned with. With the 62%, we want to know what is going on in mathematics, where English and Language Arts are succeeding. In the local, so as I said earlier, Orange High School is in California, and our local test scores for the Smarter Balance test would be our English language literacy. 400,034 and 97 students were tested. 26% exceeded the standard. 33% met the standard. 22% nearly met the standard, and 19% did not meet the standard. This is very close to Orange High, which is looks great when you look at our town of Orange. For mathematics, 432,383 students were tested. However, our exceeded were 13% met, 20%, 25% nearly met, and not as bad as Orange High, but we still had 43% not meet the standard in mathematics. So then we move towards seeing how we compare California, how it compares to our nationwide. And in how we do this, we take two tests according to Buckley. We take the Progress International Reading Literacy Study, and this is a reading assessment, and it's usually done in 4th grade, and it compares to other countries. So in this assessment, we have 53 educational systems that use this assessment. So it focuses on retrieving and making straightforward inferences. It interprets and integrates knowledge. It examines and evaluates. And this is what it's focusing on. The Trends in International Mathematics and Science study focuses on mathematics, science, and assessment. 74 educational systems use this assessment, so we can compare ourselves to 73 other educational systems. And what we're comparing is how we show our knowing of material and applying and reasoning. behind our knowledge. So as we look at our country, in our English language learning test, to get an advanced score, students have to interpret figurative language, distinguish and interpret complex information from different parts of text, and integrate across text to provide interpretations about characters, feelings, and behaviors. And again, this is from 4th grade, so the students are needing to distinguish, interpret, and provide reasoning behind their feelings and behaviors about the characters. So in the United States, our 4th graders their 17% are advanced. And this is again in our language. And we have our math to the right, where it's our times, and it's to get advanced scores, students can apply their understanding and knowledge in a variety of relative complex situations and explains the reasonings. So with math, they need to understand, they need to have some background knowledge, but not only that, they need to explain their reasoning. And this is what gets the students an advanced score, and in the United States we have 13%. Again, just as in Orange High and California, this is a lesser amount than the advanced students in English. So then we look at the country Finland, and we look at the same scores, and they are tested the same way, and they get advanced scores in the same way as the United States do. So they need to distinguish, interpret. They need to provide interpretations of how the characters feel and behaviors and why they believe so. And so in Finland we have a higher percent of advanced students, 18%. Again, it's only a percent, but depending on how many students were tested, that could be quite a few students. And then you have math, which is again evaluated in the same way to get advanced, and we have 12%. So we do have a big difference here in our math as along with the United States. This is where there is a bigger gap for Finland, however, not such a big gap for the United States, but it is still a concern that math is a lower knowledge base content area. So some of the takeaways that we have looking at these different data and the test scores from the micro-local, the local, and the country-based, our test scores, schools are higher in English and language arts literacy. Schools have lower percents of advanced students. None of the scores that we looked at had advanced students as the majority, and this is something that we strive for and look towards school rankings. Schools find testing in English and mathematics important. We can see this by the way we compare each other, how our states include these tests to make sure that the English and mathematics are being taught in a effective way. So location. So looking at the different areas, we had the micro-local, which is Orange, California. Then we had a local and the country-based, and it didn't really matter where you were from or the environment. We were still getting the same results as in the very few advanced students, and that our math scores were a lesser score of percents of students that were advanced, and the majority did not meet any standards. So some of my wonderings would be if socioeconomical would play any kind of part in testing done. My next step would be to look at what kind of students are in each area, and if it works out through different countries. And I wonder why this math content is so hard to grasp, or is it the way that they're providing these questions that the students are not prepared, or what is it that makes math so hard to meet these standards? So some of the reasonings why I believe our advanced scores are so small in the United States is based on some of the readings that I've done and research is teacher training. So our teachers need more training in how to teach, not necessarily the content, however, the how to teach to students so that they understand. So according to Araceli, she explains that teachers need more training in educational teaching and not content. So she explains how the students, the teachers are not taught how to teach basic math in a variety of ways to meet every student. And then I want to looked at culture and maybe in the United States how it's not a really high priority for education. So we always say, oh, college is important. However, our society is very focused on the outside activities, whether it be musical, sports, just something that is not focused on academics. And then we have to look at if the way we're teaching is engaging. So is our society focused too much on teaching to the test so that the students have no motivation to actually learn the content, or is it that the students are just the content's not engaging enough and it hinders the student's ability to learn in multiple ways? Again, going back to the teacher training, to teach them in different ways to teach students across the board. So some of our references are the following, and my biggest takeaway is that English and literacy is the key to finding out how the content is being taught so that the students are able to access this information and apply it to these tests where math, we are falling short. And it's not just our country, it's multiple countries, and I would like to look at those countries that are succeeding in math and break apart what they do compared